नमो अरिहंता नमो सिताणं नमो वायरियाणं नमो उवज्जायाणं नमो लोये सवसाहुं मंगलम मंगलम भगवान वीरो मंगलम गौतमो गणी मंगलम कुंद कुंदाद्यो जैन धर्मोस्तु मंगलम सर्वमंगल मांगल्यम सर्वकल्याणकारकम प्रदानं सर्वधर्माणां जैनं जयतु शासनं जैनं जयतु शासनं जैनं जयतु शासनम. So today we will be studying chapter 5 of Vitrag Vigyan part 3. The name of the chapter is Who Am I? मैं कौन हूँ? So it seems to be the most important chapter because all our efforts are just to identify ourselves. So if we are able to understand this chapter and put right efforts in the right direction, then I feel we will get an answer of this question, who am I? It has been nicely written by Dr. Bharilji, and I would like to read the Hindi lesson first and then the English one, so that you can just make out the exact English meaning. And of course, in Hindi, it is written very nicely, and English is also quite okay. This translation is quite good compared to others, but still here and there are some, I would not say mistakes, but the quality of translation is not good everywhere. Anyways, so I'll read the Hindi first and then the English one. मैं कौन हूँ? Who am I? मैं शब्द का प्रयोग हम प्रतिदिन कई बार करते हैं, पर गहराई से कभी यह सोचने का यत्न नहीं करते कि मैं का वास्तविक अर्थ क्या है, मैं का असली वाच्यार्थ क्या है, मैं शब्द किस वस्तु का वाचक है. We use the word I a number of times a day, but we have never tried to think what is the real meaning of this word. So actually it is written पर गहराई से कभी यह सोचने का यत्न नहीं करते कि मैं का वास्तविक अर्थ क्या है. But we never go deep into our contemplations, and we don't put in efforts to know who am I. What does this word I signify? मैं का असली वाच्यार्थ क्या है? मैं शब्द किस वस्तु का वाचक है? So this whole line is not here translated in English. मैं शब्द किस वस्तु का वाचक है? So I think both the sentence are same. So what does this word I signify covers both the Hindi sentences. And sometimes it so happens that Hindi line is only one, and we have to write 2-3 lines in English to explain the whole meaning of that Hindi sentence. सामान्य तरीके से सोचकर आप कह सकते हैं, इसमें गहराई से सोचने की बात ही क्या है? क्या हम इतना भी नहीं समझते कि मैं कौन हूं? और आप उत्तर भी दे सकते हैं कि मैं बालक हूं या जवान हूं, मैं पुरुष हूं या स्त्री हूं, मैं पंडित हूं या सेठ हूं। पर मेरा प्रश्न तो यह है कि क्या आप इनके अलावा और कुछ नहीं है? यह सब तो बाहर से दिखने वाली संयोगी पर्याय मात्र है। थिंकिंग ऑर्डिनरीली, सो सामान्य तरीके से सोचकर, उसको ये बना दिया थिंकिंग ऑर्डिनरीली। You can say that there is nothing in the word requiring deep thinking. Do we understand who I am? You can also reply, I am a child or a young man, or I am a man, a woman, a scholar, or a rich merchant. But my question is, are you not something else than this? All these are only synthetic, accidental modifications of various objects only externally visible. So here they are assuming, they are just putting a assumption that I am a child, or I am a young man, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a scholar, or I am a rich merchant. So these are the different titles that a person assumes to be, and the last line, पर मेरा प्रश्न तो यह है कि क्या आप इनके अलावा और कुछ नहीं है? Are you not something else than these? यह सब तो बाहर से दिखने वाली संयोगी पर्याय मात्र है। All these are synthetic, accidental modification of various objects only externally visible. So whether you are a child or a young man or a woman or a rich merchant, all these titles are externally visible. Okay. So we are just trying to find who I am. We are trying to find an answer to who I am. So the writer is giving us different logics so that we can arrive at the right decision of who I am. So the first set of assumptions here given, being a child, a young man, a woman, a scholar, a rich merchant, these are all ruled out because these are something that we have acquired as a title externally. What I mean to say is this: if you are a child, childhood is to come to an end someday. मेरा कहना है कि यदि आप बालक है तो बालकपन तो एक दिन समाप्त हो जाने वाला है, पर आप तो फिर भी रहेंगे, अतः आप बालक नहीं हो सकते. If you are a child, childhood is to come to an end someday, but you will continue to exist even afterwards. Therefore, you can't be a child. इसी प्रकार जवान भी नहीं हो सकते हैं, क्योंकि बालकपन और जवानी यह तो शरीर के धर्म है, तथा मैं शब्द शरीर का वाचक नहीं है. मुझे विश्वास है कि आप भी अपने को शरीर नहीं मानते होंगे. Likewise, you cannot also be a young man. Childhood and youth are the changes of the body, and the word I does not indicate body. I am sure you do not regard your body as your own self. ऐसे ही आप सेठ तो धन के संयोग से हैं, पर धन तो निकल जाने वाला है. तो क्या जब धन नहीं रहेगा तब आप भी नहीं रहेंगे? तथा पंडिताई तो शास्त्र ज्ञान का नाम है. तो क्या जब आपको शास्त्र ज्ञान नहीं था तब आप नहीं थे? यदि थे तो मालूम होता है कि आपका धन और पंडिताई, कि आप धन और पंडिताई से भी पृथक है. पृथक मीन्स भिन्न है, अर्थात आप सेठ और पंडित भी नहीं है. Same way, you are a rich man because of your possession of wealth, but wealth and riches are going to disappear. When wealth disappears, will you also disappear? Scholarship is the name of knowledge of a few books. Did you not exist when you had no knowledge of such books? If you did exist, it appears that you are different from riches and scholarship. That is, you are not a rich man or a scholar. तब प्रश्न उठता है कि आप आखिर मैं हूं कौन? If I am not a rich man or if I am not a scholar, then the question arises, who am I? यदि एक बार यह प्रश्न हृदय की गहराई से उठे और उसके समाधान की सच्ची जिज्ञासा जगे, तो इसका उत्तर मिलना दुर्लभ नहीं है. It is not difficult to find an answer to this if it rises in the depth of your heart and you are really inquisitive. Inquisitive is jigyasu. If you are really inquisitive about the solution. पर यह मैं पर की खोज में स्व को भूल रहा है. This I has forgotten the self in his pursuit of all else. कैसी विचित्र बात है कि खोजने वाले को ही भूल रहा है. This I has forgotten the self in his pursuit of all else. How strange that the seeker has forgotten the seeker himself. सारा जगत पर की संभाल में इतना व्यस्त नजर आता है कि मैं कौन हूं यह सोचने समझने की उसे फुर्सत ही नहीं है. The whole world is so busy in taking care of others that it has no time to think, who am I? It has no time to find out who am I. मैं शरीर, मन, वाणी और मोह राग द्वेष यहाँ तक कि क्षणस्थायी परलक्षी बुद्धि से भी भिन्न एक त्रैकालिक शुद्ध अनादि अनंत चैतन्य ज्ञानानंद स्वभावी ध्रुव तत्व हूं जिसे आत्मा कहते हैं. So now the introduction has come. We have been putting forth different logics that who am I? But now in this paragraph, who am I has been answered. Different from body, mind, speech, delusion, attachment, aversions, and even from the intellect aiming at others, I am an everlasting. Everlasting is trekalik. Pure. Pure is Shuddha. Eternally conscious. Anadi Anant Chaitanya. Being having all bliss and sentience. ज्ञानानंद स्वभावी ध्रुव तत्व हूं एंड नेवर चेंजिंग जिसे आत्मा कहते हैं. सो मैं शरीर, मन, वाणी. सो आई एम नॉट बॉडी, नॉट माइंड, not speech, not delusion, not attachment, not aversion. यहाँ तक कि क्षण स्थायी परलक्षी बुद्धि. Even I am not the intellect which is outbound. यहाँ तक कि क्षण स्थायी परलक्षी बुद्धि. So even from the intellect aiming at others, I am an everlasting. अब देखो यहाँ से परिभाषा, the definition of soul begins from here. I am an everlasting. That means trekalik, pure, Shuddha, eternally conscious, Anadi Anant Chaitanya, Jnananand Swabhavi Dhruv Tattva हूं, being having all bliss and sentience and never changing, जिसे आत्मा कहते हैं. So I am a soul who is full of knowledge and bliss. Gyan Anand Swabhavi. Okay. Dhruv Tattva हूं. So I am not only knowledge and bliss, but I am also permanent, constant, never changing. And this is pure soul. Example, now they are giving example. For example, a man forgets that he is an Indian in the thick cover of provincialism and thinks that he is a Bengali, a Madrasi or a Punjabi. मैं बंगाली हूं, मैं मद्रासी हूं, मैं पंजाबी हूं, इस प्रांतीयत के घटाटोप में ये मैं आदमी यह भूल जाता है कि मैं भारतीय हूं और प्रांतीय की सघन अनुभूति से भारतीय राष्ट्रीयता खंडित होने लगती है. Indian nationalism thus stands divided in the deep feelings of provincialism. उसी प्रकार मैं मनुष्य हूं, देव हूं, पुरुष हूं, स्त्री हूं, बालक हूं, जवान हूं आदि में आत्मबुद्धि के बादलों के बीच आत्मा तिरोहित सा हो जाता है. तिरोहित मतलब ढक जाना. In the same way, the soul sinks deep in the clouds of oneness with the realization that one is a man, a god. God means Dev. So good word will be celestial being. A man, a celestial being, a masculine. A masculine means Purush. Purush means human. A feminine, Stree, a lady, a child, or a young man. So our soul gets hidden when we highlight all these things. I am a man, I am a celestial being, I am a human, I am a lady. So all this, in this, the soul gets hidden. Why should therefore we forget that we are animate sentient beings? Animate means Chaitanya Swabhavi. Okay? जैसे आज के राष्ट्रीय नेताओं की पुकार है कि देश प्रेमी बंधुओं, आप लोग मद्रासी और बंगाली होने के पहले भारतीय है, यह क्यों भूल जाते हैं? उसी प्रकार मेरा कहना है कि मैं सेठ हूं, मैं पंडित हूं, मैं बालक हूं, मैं वृद्ध हूं के कोलाहल में मैं आत्मा हूं को हम क्यों भूल जाते हैं? Why should therefore we forget that we are animate sentient beings amidst the cries of being possessed of wealth or learning or being a child or an old man, just as our leaders ask us to remember that we are Indian first, Madrasi or Bengalis after a word. In the same way, I am a businessman, I am a scholar, I am a child, I am an old man. So when we believe ourselves to be all these, then we forget our own soul. जैसे भारत देश की अखंडता अक्षुण्ण रखने के लिए यह आवश्यक है कि प्रत्येक भारतीय में मैं भारतीय हूं, यह अनुभूति प्रबल होनी चाहिए. Just every Indian should strongly feel that he is an Indian in order to preserve the unity of Bharat. For such a feeling is the only way to protect that unity. भारतीय एकता के लिए उक्त अनुभूति ही एकमात्र सच्चा उपाय है. In the same way, the strong feeling of being a soul is very necessary in order to get a correct answer to the question, who am I? उसी प्रकार मैं कौन हूं का सही उत्तर पाने के लिए मैं आत्मा हूं की अनुभूति प्रबल हो, यह अति आवश्यक है. In the same way, the strong feeling of being a soul is very necessary in order to get a correct answer to the question, who am I? So he's still finding, putting in some other options which he believes to be that thing. हाँ, तो स्त्री, पुत्र, मकान, रुपया, पैसा, यहाँ तक कि शरीर से भी भिन्न मैं तो एक चेतन तत्व आत्मा हूं. So I am only an animate being. Animate being is Chetan Tattva. So I am only an animate being, different from wife, son, house, riches, money, and even my body. So you see what is your true identity. So we are different from all these things: wife, son, house, riches, money, and even my body. All these are outside my soul. They never enter my soul. Delusion, attachments, and aversions that rise in the soul, being not part of its nature and transitory, do not come within the limits of the soul. And the petty development of our knowledge, depending upon other objects, is not able to throw light on our perfect supreme consciousness. आत्मा में उठने वाले मोह, राग, द्वेष भाव भी क्षण स्थायी, टेम्पररी, विकारी भाव होने से आत्मा की सीमा में नहीं आते तथा परलक्षी ज्ञान का अल्प विकास, जिसको हम कहते हैं क्षयोपशम ज्ञान, परलक्षी ज्ञान का अल्प विकास भी परिपूर्ण ज्ञान स्वभावी आत्मा का अवबोध कराने में समर्थ नहीं है. अवबोध इज नॉलेज. अल्प विकास भी परिपूर्ण ज्ञान स्वभावी आत्मा का अवबोध कराने में समर्थ नहीं है. यहां तक कि ज्ञान की पूर्ण विकसित अवस्था, दिस इज ओमनीसिएंट, अनादि नहीं होने से अनादि अनंत पूर्ण एक ज्ञान स्वभावी आत्मा नहीं हो सकती है, क्योंकि आत्मा तो एक द्रव्य है और यह तो आत्मा के ज्ञान गुण की पूर्ण विकसित एक पर्याय मात्र है. the fully developed manifestation of our consciousness, too, since it is not eternal, cannot be accepted as our everlasting, perfect, and indivisible soul. Because soul is a substance, while this fully developed state is only a modification of the attribute of consciousness. So even the fully developed state, that is omniscience, okay, is again only a modification of the attribute. Which attribute? ज्ञान गुण. ज्ञान गुण की पर्याय है केवल ज्ञान. Because soul is a substance, while this fully developed state is only a modification of the attribute of consciousness. क्योंकि आत्मा तो एक द्रव्य है और यह तो आत्मा के ज्ञान गुण की पूर्ण विकसित एक पर्याय मात्र है. मैं का वाच्यार्थ आत्मा तो अनादि अनंत अविनाशी त्रैकालिक तत्व है. जब तक उस ज्ञान स्वभावी अविनाशी ध्रुव तत्व में अहम बुद्धि, वही मैं हूं, ऐसी मान्यता नहीं आती, तब तक मैं कौन हूं, यह प्रश्न भी अनुत्तरित ही रहेगा. The real meaning of I is an eternal, indestructible element existing in all the three divisions of time: past, present, and future. मैं का वैचार्थ आत्मा तो अनादि अनंत अविनाशी त्रैकालिक तत्व है. जब तक उस ज्ञान स्वभावी अविनाशी ध्रुव तत्व में अहम बुद्धि नहीं आती, तब तक मैं कौन हूं, यह प्रश्न भी अनुत्तरित ही रहेगा. So long as we do not develop the feelings of sameness with this sentient, indestructible, everlasting element, our soul, we cannot, that is our soul, we cannot get a correct answer to the question, who am I? So basically, here it is being said that we have to do this aham buddhi, वही मैं हूं, ऐसी मान्यता, I am that only. So this kind of belief, unless and until we have, still then we cannot get a correct answer to the question, who am I? Because the answer itself defines ourselves. So who am I? When you get the correct answer, then only this question will get answered. मैं के द्वारा जिस आत्मा का कथन किया जाता है, वह आत्मा अंतर्मुखी दृष्टि का विषय है, अनुभव गम्य है, बहिर्लक्ष्य दौड़ धूप से वह प्राप्त नहीं किया जा सकता. The soul that we describe with the word I is a subject of our inner vision and a matter of experience. It cannot be achieved by external activities of any kind. It cannot be bound with mental thoughts because it is a matter of our soul awareness. वह स्वसंवेद तत्व है, अतः उसे मानसिक विकल्पों में नहीं बांधा जा सकता। उसे इंद्रियों द्वारा भी उपलब्ध नहीं किया जा सकता, क्योंकि इंद्रियां तो मात्र स्पर्श, रस, गंध, वर्ण और शब्द की ही ग्राहक है। It cannot also be achieved with the help of sensual perception, because senses only feel, touch, taste, smell, color, and sound, and can only be instruments in the knowledge of inanimate objects. These senses cannot be even passive causes or the instrumental causes of the knowledge of our soul. वे इंद्रियां अरस अरूपी आत्मा को जानने में एक तरह से निमित्त भी नहीं हो सकती है। So this question continues, who am I? So they are saying that the answer to who am I cannot be achieved by external activities of any kind. It cannot be bound with mental thoughts, because it is a matter of our soul awareness. It cannot also be achieved with the help of sensual perception, because senses only feel, touch, taste, smell, color, and sound, and can only be instruments in the knowledge of inanimate objects. Achetan, ajiv. These senses cannot be even passive causes of the knowledge of our soul. So this passive causes is instrumental causes. निमित्त, यह अनुभव गम्य आत्मवस्तु ज्ञान का घन पिंड और आनंद का कंद है. Very good line. This soul substance and object of our experience is a solid mass of consciousness and bliss. Okay, consciousness is Gyan and bliss is Anand. यह अनुभव गम्य आत्मवस्तु ज्ञान का घन पिंड और आनंद का कंद है. रूप, रस, गंध, स्पर्श और मोह, राग, द्वेष आदि सर्व परभावों से भिन्न सर्वांग परिपूर्ण शुद्ध है. It is all purity, different from the subjects of senses and other feelings. Its separateness from other external inclination and oneness with consciousness and other supreme attributes are its purity. समस्त पर भावों से भिन्नता और ज्ञानादिमय भावों से अभिन्नता ही इसकी शुद्धता है. यह एक है, अनंत गुणों की अखंडता ही इसकी एकता है. It is one, and the oneness of its countless attributes is its unity. ऐसा यह आत्मा मात्र आत्मा है और कुछ नहीं है, यानी मैं ही हूं और कुछ नहीं. Such a soul is soul alone, nothing else, all alone and self-sufficient. मैं ही हूं और अपने में ही सब कुछ हूं. I have nothing that I can give others and being perfect in myself. पर को देने लायक मुझ में कुछ नहीं है. I do not stand in the need of cooperation from any external being. I have nothing to give anything to somebody else. तथा अपने में परिपूर्ण होने से, since I am complete in myself, I don't require any external help. I do not stand in the need of cooperation from any external being. यह आत्मा वाग विलास और शब्द जाल से परे है. This soul is above the intricacies of the spoken word, known only to our own experience. मात्र अनुभूति गम्य है. आत्मानुभूति को प्राप्त करने का प्रारंभिक उपाय तत्व विचार है. The first step towards its realization is the study of the elements. पर यह आत्मानुभूति आत्म तत्व संबंधी विकल्प का भी अभाव करके होने वाली स्थिति है. But that realization will arise after discarding all the thoughts about the soul itself. मैं कौन हूं यह जानने की वस्तु है. यह अनुभूति द्वारा प्राप्त होने वाला समाधान है, उत्तर है. Who am I is a matter of our awareness, and our answer to this question has to be received from our own inner realization. यह वाणी द्वारा व्यक्त करने और लेखनी द्वारा लिखने की वस्तु नहीं है. It cannot be expressed in words or writings. वाणी और लेखनी की इस संदर्भ में मात्र इतनी ही उपयोगिता है कि ये उसकी और संकेत कर सकती है, ये दिशा इंगित कर सकती है, दशा नहीं ला सकती. Words and writings can only make indication about this supreme being. They cannot point towards they can point towards the direction, but cannot bring about its modification. So they can point us in which direction we should go, but they cannot reproduce the modification. दशा नहीं ला सकती है. So I think now you must be having an idea of who am I. And we had given so many logics here. Many logics have been given here. And also the practice of discriminative knowledge was also very inspiring. And if we study this chapter again and again, then at least we will have a realistic view of our own true nature. So reading again and again this chapter will take you to close of your ambition or target or vision, whatever you have it, that you can just realize it. So this was a very good essay, and if you have any questions about this chapter, you can ask right now.
Okay, Jai Jinendra,
Yeah.
Ashish Bhai, and everyone. I have a question here.
Yeah.
In some of this English text, it's written, it cannot be, when we're talking about the soul, it says it cannot be bound with mental thoughts because it is a matter of our soul awareness. And then later on in the text, it says, but that realization will arise after discarding all the thoughts about the soul itself. So is it trying to tell us that we shouldn't be thinking about the soul? It's
Where it
automatic.
is, which paragraph it was?
Okay, so on the last page, the second paragraph,
Okay.
line number 3. It says, when you're talking about the soul, it says it cannot be bound with mental thoughts because it is a matter of our soul awareness.
मतलब उसे मानसिक विकल्पों में नहीं बांधा जा सकता है. Okay. Even the mental thoughts, okay, we will not be able to realize our soul just with these mental thoughts. Okay, that is what they are trying to convey. वह स्वसंवेद तत्व है. Okay, स्वसंवेद तत्व है means you can realize yourself. Okay, swasamved, so you can have the experience of yourself. Swasamvedan, swa matlab swayam ka, vedan is a feeling or an experience. Okay, so it is something that you can realize yourself. So it cannot be bound with mental thoughts. उसे मानसिक विकल्पों में नहीं बांधा जा सकता है. So just because it is written here कि नहीं बांधा जा सकता है, so they have translated it, it cannot be bound. But here it means that the true nature of the soul, it cannot be realized by just contemplating on it. Okay,
it has to be experienced.
Yeah,
actually.
it has to be experienced. So when we experience ourselves, those contemplation thoughts, that will automatically go away. So we don't have to remove those. We don't have to remove those. It will automatically get removed once we do the realization or the experience ourselves.
So this chapter is related closely with something in the Bar Bhavana because it talks about separateness and oneness as well.
Yes. So Bar Bhavana is such a topic. In fact, we have a full paper on Bara Bhavana, and we have a full book on Bara Bhavana, and that we are going to study in detail, because it's such a tool, such a wonderful tool, even when the monks gets into initiation, the first thing that they do is contemplation on this 12 bhavana. Okay, then even when they get upsarg, physical torture, okay, when they are experiencing a physical torture, at that time also they contemplate about these 12 reflections. Why? Because these 12 reflections are in itself a complete process of discriminative knowledge. So it is very good at discriminating between the self and the non-self, and they have given different ways through which we can do that discrimination. And once we are able to look at the same thing from different perspectives, then our knowledge becomes more profound, and it becomes easy for us to realize ourselves. So even the monks also contemplate this. So this Bara Bhavana is, I would say, ultimate discriminative knowledge.
Okay.
So it
Thank you.
covers all things. It covers all aspects of a Bhed Gyan or discriminative knowledge. So this Bara Bhavana are very good, and we will be, of course, studying it in detail. And it has been very nicely written by Dr. Bharinji. So he has given references of, say, 15-20 books, because there are around 100 Bara Bhavanas. So out of that, 15-20 references have also been given in that every chapter, regarding one chapter for each contemplation. Okay. So Anitya, then
Ekatva.
not Ekat. Not Asharana also. Yeah, Ashar. Anitya, Asharan, Sansar, Ekatva, Anyatva, Asuchi. Okay. So these are the first 6. And the next 6 is Asrav, Asrav Bandh, Samvar, Nirjara, then we have Lok Bhavana, then we have Bodhi Durlabh Bhavana, and then we have Dharma Bhavana. So liberation is included in the Nirjara Bhavana. So that way we have total 12 contemplations. So these are all very good, good tool for practicing discriminative knowledge. Any other questions?
Jay Janendra,
Yeah.
the soul is actually responsible for its actions.
Yes.
The soul is enjoying the fruits based on the good actions. Soul will suffer because of the bad consequences and actions and all these things. But when the soul is doing everything, how the karma is connecting with the soul?
So, Chaitanya Prakash ji, you have been absent from class for a long time.
Yes, yes, sir.
So you have become a monk?
Becoming.
Becoming, still not?
Still not.
Okay. So if you attend classes regularly, you will be able to understand. We had a chapter on karma also in between.
Okay. Okay.
So this soul and this karma together, there from time immortal.
Okay.
And just because that karma is there with the soul, the pure manifestation doesn't help. Does not happen. So we had to get rid of all 3 types of karmas. Dravya karma, bhav karma, and the no karma. Okay. then only the soul gets liberated.
Okay.
But sir, soul actually is not a doer. It is just an observer, right, sir?
Right, right, absolutely. But there has to be a relation to be established between soul and karma. Otherwise, why should we give this
The
knowledge?
karma stick to the soul, right?
Yeah, karmas stick to the soul just because the soul manifest those intoxic emotions. And because of that intoxic emotions, the karmas are bound. And just because the karmas are bound, then it comes to fruition. And when it comes to fruition, the soul again manifest those intoxic emotions. So this cycle has been going on, and we have to break this cycle. And we can break this cycle because whatever karmas we have bound, that are not going to come in exactly the same proportion with because of our sentiments. Every moment, the karmas also keep on changing. There are some karmas who are getting converted, from inauspicious to auspicious. Then there are some karmas who are coming into fruition prematurely. Okay. And then there are some karmas who are getting increment. And there are some karmas who are getting decrement. So these things are constantly happening in the karmas due to the intoxic emotions are instrumental in bounding the karmas. Okay, so these act as a nimit, the sentiments of the soul. Okay, and similarly, the karmas, when their fruition rises, the soul also produces these intoxic emotions, and at that point of time, karma is the instrumental cause. So they become instrumental cause to each other. Nimit nemitic sambandh. Okay, so there is a nimit nemitic sambandh between a soul and a karma. There is no karta karma sambandh. Soul is not a doer of any karmas, and any of the karmas are not a doer of anything in the soul. Both the substances, the soul is a conscious substances, and the karma is a matter. It's a pudgal. It is a non-conscious substance. They both operate simultaneously on their own without any external help, and still they become instrumental to each other. Okay, soul is instrumental in the karmas, and the karmas are instrumental in the soul's manifestations. So these are instrumental. Instrumental means nimit. Okay, these are not active cause. These are all instrumental cause, nimit. Okay, so nimit means akarta. Okay, so soul does not do anything in the karma, and the karmas also don't do anything in the soul. Both are operating independently of one another, and both are instrumental causes to one another.
So Rajesh Bhai, the karma is not really inside the soul. It's not attached to the soul,
Yes,
right?
it's outside.
Yeah.
But there is a nimittamatic sambandh. So whenever there is a rise of sentiments, okay, just because the soul, just because the karmas act as an instrumental cause, okay, the intoxic emotions does not arise in the soul because it's not its true nature. So they don't arise in the soul independently. Whenever there is an intoxic emotions on the rise in the soul, there will always be a corresponding karma out there as an instrumental cause. Okay. So there cannot be an intoxic emotion without an instrumental cause. Okay. And that instrumental cause is karma. So when there is a rise of delusion, okay, in the soul, there will be a corresponding delusion karma, which will be an instrumental cause. Okay. So delusions are of two types. So everything, even anger is of two types. One is the sentiment anger, and one is the karma, anger karma. Similarly, man, okay, pride. So there is a pride sentiment and there is a pride karma prakriti. Okay. So both goes hand in hand. There is a sentiment here in the soul, and for that there has to be an instrumental cause of karma. So it is like that only.
So I have a question.
Huh.
Let's say, let us assume, saying that, we as souls, we are constantly, getting the influx of karmas with whatever deeds we are doing.
Okay.
But say if we just understand in this way that, since a soul is something which is on its own, it is not actually being affected by karmas. Can we have can we have a thinking or an assumption that we are not bound by karmas and nothing is affecting us? Can we have that kind of a notion?
Yes.
Okay.
So because if we are controlled by the karma, then we would never get liberated.
Exactly.
The soul is independent of the karmas, but there is a cause and effect relationship between the two, which is also a truth, and we cannot deny that. Okay. So we have to accept that cause and effect relationship, and also simultaneously we also understand that pure soul is not influenced by any type of karma.
Right.
So both the perceptions, both the perspectives are correct. We have to understand it from the aspect which is it is being said, and if we are clear about that aspect, then we will get the right meaning of those words.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we will end here. Our time is also over, and our chapter is also over. Now, next week, we will have chapter 6, 12 conducts of a householder, and the next one is path of liberation. Slightly bigger chapters, but we will see it.